So the image of the Four Horsemen, you see this quite a lot. People bring this up in late night TV something, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. But the imagery that you see around it is often just of four equal looking horses and four sort of cloaked figures. And it represents a kind of doom, a harbinger of, it's the end and catastrophe is about to strike. But actually, when you look at the text of the book of Revelation, it's not quite like that. There's a lot of emphasis on the horses. There's more on the horses, it seems like, than the riders. And the horses are four different colors, which seems important. And I don't often see that depicted. And these colors, actually, the first horse is good. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it talks about conquering and so forth, but let's have a look at what that means. Let's look specifically at this first horse. And what Swedenborg says is that what's going on in the big judgment, there's like the big judgment that happened in 1757 that we've talked about in other episodes. What was going on in that was there were all these people in the world of spirits. And some are hypocrites who are sort of playing a good game, but they're not really on the level in terms of what's in their hearts. And some are good, simple people, and some are sort of mixed up. And so we need the Lord to sort all of that out. And these four horses are depictions of four different ways of approaching, particularly religious teachings, your sacred text or something, whatever religion you're in. How are you taking that? Are you living by it? Is the truth more important than how you live by it, and so on? What are the different phases here? And they come in a logical order. When you look at it that way, actually, there's a reason the red one comes after the white one, and so on. So let's have a look at this first one. Let's just look at the text of what happens when this first seal is opened.
Now I saw when the Lamb opened the first of the seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures saying, as though with a voice of thunder, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and he who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer.
You see what I mean there, that it's actually the first thing you hear about is the horse, and then you hear about the rider. The horse is so important, and the color of it. And what the horses mean is our understanding of a sacred text, the word or whatever, whatever religion we're in, whatever that code is that you're supposed to be living by, if it's the idea of karma or whatever, that's what this is a judgment on. Are we deploying that in our lives or not? So in the case of the white horse, what it means is this. The rider on the white horse means people with a genuine understanding of truth and goodness from the word and who apply it to life. It's so crucial that that's the understanding is that, this is something I'm supposed to live by. Doesn't matter what the sacred text is, you have that understanding. Some people are in that white horse state that I've got to live by this. This is what this is about. This is not for intellectual stimulation or something. This is a code to live by. And so that's what it means about the goodness as well as the truth and applying it to life. Now, the bow means that their doctrine, those teachings, gives the ability to fight against falsity and evil rising up from hell. So this is a very positive image. People might think of those four horsemen as like, oh no, it's doom. No, this is positive. This is the ability, when you're in that mode of thinking, I've got to live by this, then you realize, I need to do something about the things that are negative in my life. And so that teaching gives you the ability to fight against these falsities and evils that are rising up from hell and attacking our minds. And this crown, the interesting little detail it throws in there, is what Swedenborg calls a badge of their combats, that you've actually gone to war, in a sense, against these negative things in yourself, and you've seen some success. There's been some conquering going on there. And the conquering and to conquer is a specific element that Swedenborg talks about. Here's Apocalypse Revealed 3:01. And he went out conquering and to conquer. Sort of a strange expression, isn't it? This symbolizes their victory over falsities and evils to eternity. He's conquering now, and he's going to be conquering in the future. He is said to be conquering and to conquer because people who overcome in spiritual battles in the world which are what temptations and trials are, overcome to eternity. For the hells cannot attack someone who has overcome. This is amazing. So it is actually possible. So many battles in this world you just can't particularly win. But this is one that you can win. When that thing has been conquered, it's conquered forever, and it's never going to trouble you again. So that's what the rider on the white horse means. Quite different is the second one. And here's Revelation 6, verses 3 and 4, that talks about this red fiery horse.
When he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature saying, "Come and see." And another horse, fiery red, went out, and it was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, so that people might kill one another. And there was given to him a great sword.
Yeah, and so this red fiery horse and the idea of taking peace away from people, and he has a sword. Now, what do these different elements mean? Well, Swedenborg helpfully explains. The rider on the fiery red horse is an understanding of the word, or whatever your sacred text is, that is devoid of charity and not applied to life. Oh, so how you go from the white horse to the red horse is that the red horse is a focus on, well, it's about the teachings and so on, but we're no longer actually thinking that this is something you have to live. You don't have to live it. And so it's devoid of caring for the neighbor, that kind of mutual love and kindness and compassion. It's just become a doctrinal system. And the great sword means these false ideas springing from hatred and evil that destroy the truth. You see, that second position is vulnerable to the attack of hell. The first one, the white horse, has an ability to keep hell in its place, to stop that influence from coming in. But the second one is vulnerable because it's made the teaching central, and it's not so much about how you live your life and being compassionate, being a good person. Then it's susceptible to this hell coming in. And that's why this position, so interestingly, creates a lack of peace. And don't we see this as we look around ourselves in the world, that different theological perspective, different religions are fighting with one another, and even within one denomination, there are people fighting it. No, you're not doing it right. You're not. It takes peace away from the earth when it's not seen that it's primarily about love. And so taking peace from that earth, what is that peace from the earth? Let's look at Apocalypse Revealed 3:06 that talks about this. And it was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth. This symbolizes the abolition of charity, of spiritual security, interesting, and of inner rest. Peace symbolizes everything, whatever, that comes from the Lord. And so everything pertaining to heaven and the church and the blessings of life in them. In the highest or inmost sense, these are blessings of peace. It follows from this that peace means charity, spiritual security, in other words, protection from hell, and inner rest. For when we abide in the Lord, we are at peace with our neighbor, which is a state of charity, and we have protection from hell, which is spiritual security. And when we are at peace with our neighbor and have protection from hell, we enjoy an inner rest from evils and falsities. Evils and falsities stir us up and make us unpeaceful. And so when we shifted from that white horse to the red horse, we lost that protection. We lost a little of that security. It's going downhill a little bit. So these come in a definite kind of order. And when we get down to that red fiery horse, whoops, peace has gone out the window.